Hello guys, good day and welcome once again to another lesson. Um, Thank you for watching, and I hope you are you are getting your knowledge being expanded, and you are being well well informed with these presentations. Yes. Now, in our last section, we saw on the topic of system unit, okay? So, and in this section, we're going to see a very important aspect of the presentation of the module that deals on what? Input and output. But what I can say to you, if you have not watched the previous presentation, please do so so that it can empower you in understanding this very particular slide, this very particular presentation more in depth. So now, remember that every presentation have a learning outcomes, and these outcomes are there to enable you to evaluate yourself, to assess yourself after you are done with the lesson. We're preparing yourself on this very particular chapter. So, and here are our lesson outcomes, lesson objectives. One, define input, describe key entry, including the types and the features of keyboards, and on and on and on. Go to output, define output, and also identify the types, and so on and so forth. And then the last one say the combination. Define the combination of input-output device, including your multifunctional devices, telephones, drums, robots, um, visual reality, headgear, and gloves. So these are all. And then the last one is explain agronomic the ways to minimize physical danger. These are all different kinds of the things that are being covered on this particular presentation, which I believe that it will enable you to understand what input and output and how to be safe while using your computer device, sitting appropriately in using your computer device. Okay, so let's dive into it. Now, here he say have you ever wondered how information gets into your computer? Also, have you ever wondered how information gets into your mobile smartphone that you use, to your mobile phone, right? Or come out from that very device and how it's been interpreted. Remember, I told you in one of this, in one of the presentations that the computer, even in the last presentation, actually does not understand human language, right? It has its own language, which are range between zeros and one. Okay. Now, for that to happen, there is a process through which those zeros and one is being captured, and that very process is what input. Okay, so input, and that input is done through some devices, and those devices are what input, and that is what there's input and there input device. Input is the process of you getting across your human understandable written words, text, and all the rest of them, pictures and videos and all the rest of them to the computer, and that is what element of input. And then there are devices that are being used to make those inputs possible. And there are what input devices that convert what you and me can understand into what the computer, your system can process. So because the computer cannot understand what you have written, but in order for you to be able to understand it, you need to process it. So that process of it getting to understand what you have written, what you want to say, and what you have said is what input process. Okay, and then that input process, it goes into what input device that allow the system to do what, to convert what we can understand to what the computer can do, can process. And now, after the process have taken place, there is another what element of what output, which is what what you also can understand. So you give in the computer, you garbage something in, it processes that very thing that you have garbage in, whether text, image, any kind of in any format, right? And then it gives you what? Output. And that output comes out through what? The output what? Device. So it converts, it translates what the system unit, the last presentation, has processed, right, into what you can understand. So the first process is what you can understand. The second process is what the computer can understand. The third process is what you can understand. So what you give to the computer, it processes that very, and then it gives you output. Now, and that is very possible. Right now, when you send a text, the person you're sending that very text is not there, right? And now, you send that very text, the system processes it and then bring out the output from another side that the person whom you are sending that very text, that very message to, can understand. That is what? Output, right? And that is through what? Output what? Devices. So here, for input to take place, it needs to take place through some form of tools. And one of the tools that we do our inputs is what? Through what? Keyboard entry. Now, these are different kinds of keyboards, right? As you can see right now, we have the one on the far left down. That is what your typical traditional keyboard, right, which has the numerical numbers, special character keys, and all the rest of them. The first one on the top is your sorry, the first one the first one, the last, the one under, the one next to the traditional one is your laptop key keypad, which also enables you to do what? To capture some to do some input process, to write your text and all the rest of them. Okay, the one on top is your what? Your virtual keyboard, which the one you see on your on your laptop, even your smartphones, your smart devices, and everything, right? And that is it. And then the fourth one is your thumb keyboard. Okay, and this very keyboard, there is Motorola, BlackBerry. BlackBerry was as a phone that came out many years ago, which maybe some of you do not even understand what is that. Wanted to Google it to understand what BlackBerry is. It's a kind of it revolutionized how smartphone looks like. Say, I think it's a Canadian company, right? And that is so. These are more of four standard keyboards that you can ever see in any device in our present day situation. Okay, so we also continue. Remember, we're talking about inputs devices. So keyboards are all input devices, no matter the kind of keyboard you are talking about. They are all categorized as what? Input devices, right? And now we have our pointing device, which is also part of input device or devices, right? Which provide what? You enable for you to move, to make some movements, some gesture movement, pointing, and then it convert that very movement into what the computer, into what the machine can understand. In this case, we have your mouse, right? When you move your mouse, you're making some movements, right? And the computer and your device, the device upon which you're doing that very, you are making that very movement, can interpret what you are trying to do or what you are doing. So your mouse, what? And then you have your touch screen, the one you can see on your phone. Have your game controller, and then you have your stylus. So the first one on your bottom left is your stylus, which is used mainly for what? For architectural purposes, for drawing, of architectural drawings and all the rest of them. And that is what? Input device. So by the time you are busy sketching, drawing, the computer is able to understand the movement of your pen, of that very pen, to display what you are trying to demonstrate, what you're trying to do. Also, we have the joystick, which is what a typical example of your what of your game controller and your game pad, right? And then you have your touch screen, the one you have on your what on your smart device, on your smartphone, and all the rest of them. So these are all different kinds of what. So by the time you are moving your fingers of your finger on your smartphone screen, what you're simply doing, you are doing what you are pointing. That's a pointing gesture you are making. Tell the computer to act. It sends some signals, some command to the computer, and they are all part of what pointing devices. So now here are different kinds of mouse, right? You have your optical mouse, you have your wireless, you have your touch pad. Your optical one is one that has what? No moving parts, which are being used on the surface, right? Which helps to detect movement. You have your wireless one, which operates with battery. So now you can have wireless does not have cable. When your optical can have a cable, right? They are all the same category, right? Then you have your touchpad on your laptop. That place where you move your finger for the pointing is called what? Touch pad. Okay. You have the then when you go to the touch screen, so which can touch with more than one finger, like you can see on the picture, right? And then the common on the is commonly seen on the mobile devices, mobile gadgets like your iPad, your notebook, computers, desktop, and then your stylus using the second picture under. And these are all kinds of what your touch screen, and they're all part of what input devices. Your gaming controller, you have we provide input to the computer games, right? Your joystick use the pressure to do what to direct the stick on what to do, where to move, whether to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, and all the rest of them. Have your gaming mouse as well, which are similar to your what to your mouse, but high, like the one you can see on your screen. The first one is your joystick. The second one is your gaming mouse. The third one is your game pad, right? And the last one is your what motion sensor device that controls what the game. Okay. So now, can we categorize a scanner as what? Input or output? I want you to think about it. Your scanner. So in this case right now, a scanner is an input device. Why? Because a scanner do what? Reads a document. It converts a scanned document into the form that the system can process. That's why it's called what? It's an input device. So when you put your paper in a scanner machine, what does it happen? The machine is able to translate those texts, those pictures, whatever you want to scan into what the system can process. That's what. So it's also a typical example of your input devices. So you have your optical scanner, you have your flatbed, you have your document scanner, portable, and 3D scanner. So as you can see in those two pictures, the last one is your 3D scanner, which you're going to see in detail. Okay. But before that, let me just give a little illustration. Your 3D scanner, for example, um, scans something, right? What how this 3D works is this. Now your normal flat scanner scans a document, right? Your document scanner scans a document. You put a paper, it's be able to read it, whether in color or black and white, right? Your portable one is one that you can see. Like today, there are many portable scanners today, and also there are many there are today there are today digital scanners that when you can download online and scan through your phone. They're all part of what? Scanners. Now your 3D scanner does not scan a paper the way you can see it, but rather it scans a doc it scan it is able to reprint something, an image, an object into it can be able to print something into a physical object. Like now, you want to scan, let's say my picture, right? You put my picture on a scan, on you put my picture, send it to a scanner machine. What the scanner will do is able to print my face, my picture as an object that you can handle, you can touch. Okay, that's what your 3D, your 4D scanner, how they can perform. That if you have an object, for example, broken in your home, instead of going to buy that very object, you can quickly scan that very object with 3D. It gives you uh, uh, exact copy of that very object. Okay, and that is what makes it different from other forms of scanners, right? So we have card readers, right, which interpret decoded information that is stored on a debit card, credit card, identification card, and all the rest of them. And that is your. So those machines that can be able to scan, when you go to the shop to buy something, right? And then you scan, you put your card, whether you type your card, you swipe your card. They are all part of what? Card readers. Be able to read your ID document. They are all part of what? Scan readers, okay? Which can be a magnetic a card reader, which information reads from the strip when swapped, right? Through the reader. Like you see your at the shop when they scan your bank card, right? It's as soon as they stripe it, what happened, they're able to interpret the information, the content on that very card, which has smart card holders, additional security information, right? So now also your barcode readers are also part of what? Input device. We're still talking about input device. So whatever we were talking about before now, they are all part of what? Input devices. So here we have barcode scanners. Now you can see in that very picture, the one on the top one. Now this person is holding um a cloth, right? A shirt, right? And then it scans it to read the price, to read the item and everything. This is what you see inside shops today. Able to you want to buy a product, you want to check the product price, you put it on that barcode reader, able to read those numbers because those numbers have been assigned to do what, and then the detailed part of that very item have been assigned to that very number, both the price, the description, and all the rest of them. So as soon as you scan with this barcode reader, it provides every information you need to know about that very particular item. Okay, and that is it. So that is what your barcode, whether with reader, whether your UPC mass code reader, they are all simply doing the same. So we have our radio frequency identification reader, right? RFID. This very reader provides you the theme chips very in most everything content electronically today, right? It stores the information that can be read using what? RFID reader. Okay, now you can see on the passport placed on that machine, right, which can be able to read to display the picture of the person and all the name and everything contained in that very passport. Also, it's also being used today by farmers, right, to tag, to control, to monitor their livestock. Like I can see here, tracking pets, and that is it. So farmers are now using it right now to track, to control, to track the movement of their pets, of their livestock, of every living livestock. So it can be embedded, and also it can be used right now. It's being used also for by courier companies to monitor, to track the movement of a parcel, even when the parcel has been delivered as well, and when that parcel has been is open. They're able to try to understand. We have delivered this parcel. Look at when it was open, and that is it. So it can do a lot of things. Now we also have a character and mark recognition readers, which also provide a special character mark recognition reading, right? It can read special characters and all the rest of them. So let's look at it. Magnetic ink character recognition used by banks, right, to read embedded shake. I know these days characters on the shake. I know these days banks are phasing out. South Africa today, some other places, banks are now phasing out shakes, right? But the shake is a piece of paper, right? It's a bank paper, serve as a note, right? That you can use to withdraw money from the bank. Now, you want to pay someone that you're owing, or your customer, or someone who have rendered service to you. Simply bring out your shake, which has the bank information and everything. You provide your necessary information. You need to provide the amount. The person take that very paper to the bank, and the bank can be able to do what? Process that very paper and then pay out the amount written on that very paper, right? Whether cash or into the person's receiver's bank account. So that is so. Now they take this very paper, they put it in this very machine. It reads both your signature and all the necessary information. Okay, so we also have optical character recognition, which read the preprint characters, right? Like you can see in that in our previous slide on the word scanner, which can, as soon as you place that very, as you can see on that very picture, you place the machine, the reader on the document, can be able to interpret whatever that is written in that very document, okay? That very document, that very item. We also have your optical mark recognition, right? OMR, right? Which sense the presence of or absence of characters, of marks, sorry, used for text scoring. Now, in your first test, right? This machine, remember, you were given a mark uh, um script. You were given the script, giving your answer sheet and another paper. That is a typical example of what? Of your mark recognition document, right? Now you're able to shed on that very paper with your pencil, shedding your student number, everything, the answers, and all the rest of them in that very paper. Now that those papers were taken to this optical mark recognition, able to read your student number, your answers, and everything. And now automatically that machine has been provided the right information. As soon as it reads, it records it. So it reads the serial number, it reads your correct answers, and then it captures the total. And that is how the optical mark recognition reader works. Our image capturing. So remember, we're still talking about the inputs devices. Also, your camera is an example of your what? Of image capturing device, okay? Which create and capture what? Original image. For example, a digital camera, your webcam, your phone, and even you can see my picture, my video on this presentation, which is what? A typical example of your what? Of your webcam. So capturing my face and everything. Your phone that you use also what? That captures image and video. These are all typical example of your what? Input device. In this case right now, we have what we call audio input device, right? Which recognize voice, like your microphone, your sound card, special software, right? Which can use to operate computers and then create information using your voice command. Today, if I put it this way, most smartphones today have these features embedded in them, or you can even download on different online, right? What it does, that it can recognize your voice. That now you can even type using your voice as you're speaking. Your device is able to capture your 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 voice into what? Into text. And these are all what? Are audio input devices, okay? Which include some of these devices, right? And all the rest of them. We are now moving over to our output. As I said from the beginning, that the output is what you can understand. Input is what you can understand, processed by the computer. Output is what you can understand as well, right? So your output is the last part of this process. Input, garbage in, right? Process, garbage out, your output. And this your output is a processed data or information, which can be in the form of a text, graphics, pictures, audio, videos. And there are different kinds of output devices, which are monitors, printers, and audio output what devices. This is your monitor, known as a screen. Display screen present visual what image of the text, of the image, of the graphic, and even videos. And what is presented before a monitor is called what? A soft copy, which are the features like your what? Your clarities, your revolution, um your dots, patch, your contracts, ratio, size, aspect ratio, and all the rest of it. So these are the six features of a monitor. So when you see it anywhere, this is what different features of a monitor. How do you know a monitor? It's known by these six features. Okay. So there are different kinds of monitor types. You have your flat panel monitor, require less power to operate, portable, thin, and more what? And mostly a what? Backlight. You have like your flat screen television at home is a typical example of your what? Of your what? Panel what? Um uh Flat panel monitor. With these are different types. You have liquid, you have your light, and you have your organic. Okay, these are different kinds of what? Monitors. Okay, we have also curved monitors, have a concave screen that provide a better viewing angle near to the edge of the what? Of the screen, as you can see, which are what? A better, it gives more clarity, more viewing angles and everything, as you can see on the screen. We have also another output, which is what ebook reader. It's an traditional book printed in electronic form. All your books, all the whole library can be loaded on on some of these devices that can allow you to carry your mini library, if I put it that way, as you go. There are other monitors which can be digital and interactive whiteboard, as you can see on the screen, right? The first one, which connects the 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 um the projector or computer to the screen, which are controlled using a special pen or even with your finger, right? Which are used in a classroom, in a corporate boardrooms, and all the rest of them. Also have ultra high definition screen, the one you can see, which are digital output, delivering is more clearer and more detailed image than any other type of a monitor. We also have our projector, digital projector, which is what? The one you see in the lecture rooms. These are all kinds of what? Image you're displaying a monitor, okay? Making IT work for you. You go reading, you read as you go, which is done by through your what? Your ebook. Printer also is part of output, which can be seen is that it translates process data right into what? More understandable format for human, which produces what? The output is what? Hard copy. Remember, a monitor is soft copy, printer is what? Hard copy. And here are the features. It's known the features of a printer is what? Resolution, color, speed, memory, and what? Duplex printing. Now, we have different kinds of a printer. Inkjet printer, which is what? It has the durability of what? High speed, it's reliable, quiet, and what? Inexpensive. We have laser printer, which uses lesser light being for what? To produce an image, a document, a text. It's very fast and what? Excellent quality, which can be used, can be a shared or even a personal printer. The last one is what? 3D printer, which create 3D shape, like as I've explained before, right? And then to show an item, a material, to create something that you can see, you can feel and touch. Other printers are what? Cloud-based printer, which are what? Connected to the internet to provide service to others on the internet. It's more or less a shared a printer whereby instead of everyone having their separate printers, you can send a document to be printed even in a you can even send a document in a far place, provided that printer is connected over the internet. You can send any document from anywhere, provided you are connected to the internet. You have your time um other printers like your thermal printer. You have your plotters and all the rest of them. Also, we have the audio and the video output. Now, this translates audio information from the computer into sound that people can understand. So now, look at this. Your speaker and your headphone. So it has the element of what? Audio and the video. We have the element of what? Output and what? Input. Have your Bluetooth, you have your wireless technology used to connect speaker to what? To headphone. So now look at the combination here. Look at it. We have audio and video devices. We have seen it. Now look at the combination of input and output devices, which is what? A combination of microphone and headphone. So now your headphone can be an input where you can use the what? To speak, to send audio, to talk. At the same time, the same headphone can be an instrument through which what? You can receive a sound, you can receive voice and everything. So it's a combination of what? Of both in one. So it's a multifunctional devices. It's cost effective and all the rest of them. Okay, which also your headphone and also your microphone and your voice over internet protocol, like your um Hangouts, your FaceTime, your your Skype, your Team, your Zoom, and all the rest of them. Drone and robots. Drone are unmanned area vehicles. Takes input from a controlled and send back the video and the sound to the receiver. And that is it. So it's able to collect video, sound, and all the rest of them, and they'll be able to send it to somewhere where it's going to be used. So in this case right now, is it an input? Is it an output? Which is what? It has that element built into it. Okay, so you have your robots, which also uses mic, your cameras and other sensors as input, and then it can also be used as an output as well. Okay, you have your virtual reality, VR, which creates 3D through what? Computer for visual experience, right? If it can be able to have a kind of real life experience of a certain environment, of a certain space where you are not. So your 3D Your virtual reality provides you that kind of 3D coverage feel to have a feel of a place, of experience of a place without necessarily being there and all the rest of it. So making IT work for you in the case of Skype, Zoom, Team, and all the rest of them. Okay. Ergonomics, which was a study of how human factors relate to the things we use, right? How the system projects and everything on your computer, which is very important to avoid health implication and health risk. This is how what you should be able to see it and use your computer much more effectively to avoid health implications. Okay. However, these are all challenged, right? It's being challenged by the devices. Your portable devices are not set for what? For ergonomic purposes, like your laptop. Because of the keyboard and their monitors are connected, they can not be set up ergonomically, right? And your phones and everything. So these are the hazardous part of these devices that can affect humans' health. The careers in this very chapter can be in the aspect of what? Being prepared for instruction manual, if you understand this chapter, which has a component of preparing someone in the career of what? Instruction manual. People that all these instruction you see when you buy new devices, there are people that put on those things, technical reporters and all the rest of them. Okay, when we look to the future, we're gonna see augmented reality being displayed with a wearable augmented reality displaying displayed data from your computers and your internet will be instantly being viewable, right? And all the rest of them. Okay, so in this very chapter, there are a number of questions that are part of it. So these questions, as you can look at the learning outcomes, be able to to learn this very chapter, this very lesson. Then you ask yourself these questions prepares you to know if you are prepared or not. Okay, so go through these questions to prepare yourself. Thank you so much, and I believe that you have understood this this very lesson. In case you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you so much.